So, Uwe, before you came here with the delegation, what was your expectation?
We have worked now for this visit for 2 years to closely prepare this program with the universities. So we believe that education is the basis for peace. This is why we build bridges between universities and Nobel laureates. So the hope was, to have an open exchange so that the Nobel laureates, of course, come here to talk, but also to listen how they can be of benefit for the country in the long run. So they want to know what's going on in the DPRK, because of course our Western world somehow has a very biased and one-sided view. So, and it is fair to listen to the people directly in the DPRK, and the Nobel laureates' experiences were now very positive. And they want to return to the DPRK, and they even invite students, faculty members from DPRK universities to work in their labs for 3 months and pay for all their costs. So the expectations have been met, or even they were exceeded. So the Nobel laureates very much enjoy the visit, and I think it is a first step. A first step because I think there has no organization been in the past doing something like this. So it's all about politics and this power play, and this here is now something for the young generation. We want to give the young generation of the DPRK a voice to be heard, and we think this could be also an opening gateway to slowly open the country. And it is amazing how good the English sufficiency is here. I mean, at Kim Il-sung University and here, I mean, the Nobelists would not have expected this. They said, I mean, they go to Cambodia, even Thailand, sometimes, I mean, the English is much worse than here. So this was a big surprise. And what also was a surprise for Aaron Chichanova, that he found researchers who are really working in the exact field, and they have a big knowledge about the Nobel laureates. So, this is, it's just a learning process.
Okay. But your preparations for this event were not always smooth. There were some reservations, some objections from some Western governments about this event. And was there any time that you thought that there could be a possibility that it would not take place?
Never. No, I mean, we also consulted with the Swedish ambassador here, who represents the United States in Pyongyang. We have discussed it also with the German ambassador, with the Polish ambassador, and others who know about the situation. They have all encouraged us to do this program. Only when it came basically known a few days before the Nobel laureates started their visit, we have been contacted by the South Korean government, and we have met then with the South Korean ambassador in Bangkok, and he has voiced his concern that the Nobel laureates will be misused by the government for their purposes, which has not happened so far at all. They said they have another atomic test here while we will be here. So far this has not happened. I mean, we just assured the South Koreans that they will, we hear them, we take their concerns into consideration. But I mean, just to cancel or postpone the visit of the Nobel laureates a few days before they visit the country was not possible, simply also because the Nobel laureates are busy people. They have a schedule planned out for 2 years in advance. So they're not so flexible to just move it 2-3 weeks later. But otherwise, the process in the preparation has been smooth.
There was no attempt to block the visit, not to stop it. Or even if anyone or any country, any government had suggested that, how would you have reacted to it?
We would have talked with that government and listened to their concerns and taken it into consideration. But unfortunately, because now I have been here 6 times, I have been we have been meeting in the process with many decision makers.
Yes.
We have also met with the president of the country, Kim Jong-nam. We have met others. So, and many ordinary people, we have discussed this. So we have discussed it on various levels, this program, during 6 visits. We have also visited other parts of Pyongyang, outside Pyongyang, other parts of the DPRK. We went to different places, and so everyone really was enthusiastic here in the DPRK about the program. We were surprised about the openness. Yeah, they really want be heard. They want peace. They want cooperation. So, but what we hear in the Western world is another story, and this is why it's so biased and so unbalanced. So the only chance to get a more balanced view is really to have these direct experiences in the country.
Your partner is the Korean National Peace Committee.
Yes, right.
How flexible are they in dealing with certainly there are obstacles, there are requests that they feel unacceptable? How flexible are they?
Totally flexible and accommodating.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, basically, normally other delegations, maybe they get their schedule when they arrive here.
That's right.
So basically, the North Koreans dictate the schedule. But we have always made our own schedule from our knowledge of the country and what we want to see, what we want to do, then always discussed it with them. And always, when we wanted to see this or do this, we were able to see it. So even in the last moment, they went out of their way, I mean, to accommodate our requests. And also now, I mean, during this visit, for example, the Nobel laureates, they wanted to go outside Pyongyang. They wanted to see something else, a farm or so. And though it's difficult maybe for them sometimes because of a bureaucratic process, they enabled us to do it. So tomorrow we are going to a farm. So we're going outside Pyongyang. And for example, this hospital where we have been now, where unfortunately the BBC reported about fake doctors in brackets. So Rich Roberts and Aaron Chichenauer, they really want to go back to that hospital to talk with the doctors, to talk with the patients. And though, you see, because somehow when the BBC reported about this, they felt hurt in their feelings. How can they say this? They do not have any proof. So, it's a lot about sometimes emotional things, that they have fear that people look down to them, or people come here in an arrogant approach, and so then we also asked them, the hospital said no in the beginning because of this, but then the KNPC, they even through the chairwoman, talked with the highest person in the Politburo, who then enabled us now to go back to the hospital tomorrow. So they are in all, if there is a crisis situation or whatever, I mean, they are very cooperative.
So how do you see this event in the context of the ongoing international sanctions against DPRK?
I think it's important, as I said, to portray to the world that here are people willing to learn. They are opening themselves up by learning. Everyone in the school, I mean, they get 12 years free education. They all learn English, and they want to cooperate with the world. So if the world learns more about this third way, silent diplomacy. We're not dealing with governments or politics, but they really are eager to cooperate, and they want to be understood, the people here. They not want to be dictated, they have to do this or this, So this is why we have also asked them to come up, let's say, with some points. How, under which conditions they would be able to let the international community monitor their nuclear programs, for example. And they are saying, I mean, they are discussing this now, and possibly that we will get some points from them. So I think it will be hopefully contribute to a more peaceful world, to an opening, to a dialogue. Yeah.
And this process, shall I call it the private peace process, gets the blessing from all the way from the top.
That's right.
I think.
That's right. All the way from the top. Of course, Kim Jong-un and Marshal Kim Jong-un knows about this. We have never met him, and we will not meet him. We have not requested to do so. And the Nobel laureates here now will not meet any high-level politicians. No. They have met, of course, with the Minister of Higher Education, because he's also the president of Kim Il-sung University. But we know that this is blessed from the highest level here.
What's the next step from here? Now that this trip provides some hope of further opening up the window for cooperation in science, in technology and education, what is the role of International Peace Foundation now?
Right. So first of all, we will have a press conference in Beijing the day after tomorrow. So the Nobel laureates there will be all the main news agencies, Reuters, and so AP, and so they will tell about their experiences. And as one of the results of this visit, as I said, the Nobel laureates invite students from the DPRK to work in their labs for 3 months or so. The Nobel laureates will pay for all their expenses. They will invite not only one, but at least two, each of them, to work in their labs, and the DPRK government will facilitate this process that is going to happen. And then they will surely be something like a goodwill ambassador now of these experiences, and we'll talk with other Nobel laureates. And of course we have talked with many other Nobel laureates about this possibility to visit here now. Many have shown us their reservations, their interest, but many have been waiting now how this visit goes. Now this visit went very well. The Nobel laureates will talk with other Nobel laureates. So other Nobel laureates will surely visit the country in the future. And our foundation plans now bi-yearly program. So we cannot do this every year, but we hope to do something like this, such an exchange, maybe every 2 years. So, and as I come from Germany, and I have lived in a divided city, Berlin, and I witnessed in 1989 East and West coming together, and this was when the International Peace Foundation's activities started, because there was a need for dialogue. We also see this need for dialogue here, and this is why we hope North and South will come together, maybe not in a similar way than Germany, but find their own way of a cooperation and exchange and understanding for a better
When you
world.
planned this visit, did you know that the 7th Congress here was going to be held?
No, we did not know it at the beginning, because we have planned it. We have set the date basically with the universities since more than 1.5 years. The dates have been set, and it only happened now that the party congress will be held tomorrow. This
great coincidence.
Yeah, it's a great coincidence. Yeah.
I want to ask you about the International Peace Foundation with an office in Bangkok. Why did you choose Bangkok?
I mean,
a lot of people will be wondering why this German gentleman working on peace, international peace, has chosen Bangkok as the office.
I mean, you see, what a better place you can live than in Bang Rak, in the district of love, in the city of angels. So, you see, I came, our foundation always, we have worked in the Western world, in different countries in Europe and in the United States for many years, organized 700 events, and we always wanted to do something in another part of the world. So we thought we start maybe our foundation, not a big foundation. We don't have much money, so we have to do one step after the other. So we thought either Africa, South America, or Asia. And somehow I planned a visit to all these countries, and I visited all these countries. Then around the year 2000. But without knowing actually the significance of the date, I have arrived in Bangkok, which was my first stop, on the 13th of April 2000. The start of Songkran Festival.
Right.
So somehow I was wet for a week because I went to Pattaya also then.
Yes.
And so it was like I was baptized. I was newly born. Right. This was such an experience of fun. Someone who comes from Germany, you see, I mean, who's a little bit grey. So, I mean, to have such an experience on the first day and the continue. So this was something
so
very
that changed
unusual.
your life.
What year was it?
But it was also
year
clear.
2000.
Yeah, in the year 2000. It was also clear, basically, and I never had this experience anywhere in the world, and I traveled a lot. I knew within the first day I would live here.
Wow.
So, and then I made, of course, then I had a couple of more visits to Thailand and different places.
Right.
But then when I moved here in the 2001, I made a conscious decisions to learn the language and to become a monk, to learn about Buddhism, and I mean for a certain period of time to learn with Mechi Sansani, Prapayut Payutto. I visited different parts of Thailand to learn about the NGOs and the plight of the farmers, and I also worked with Father Joe Meyer in the slums in Krong Doi, so to understand, let's say, the hardship of the people in the slums with my own hands, not only with my mind. So this I took off for about 1 year for this process, because dialogue starts with listening. So I listened to Thailand and to the Thai people and to the culture, and I embraced it in my heart, and now I'm Ben Kon Thai.
Yes. Where were you ordained?
Actually, you see, it was so that, of course, I also fall in love with someone in Thailand.
Sure.
And then that someone who became very dear to my heart passed away at the age of 30 suddenly. So I experienced this whole grief, but also this grief with a hope for a next life, something which you do not experience in the Western world, because when you die, it's over. You either go to hell or to heaven or whatever.
Right.
So, but here, through their belief, of course, people have a hope in the next life, and the passing is a normal process.
Just a transformation.
It's a transformation. So this is why I experienced all these rituals, and in that period also become a monk for his soul. And so this was a deep process.
And the foundation was set up after that, or before?
You mean our foundation?
Yeah, the International Peace Foundation.
This has been set up since many years, because we are all 27 years old. Our foundation,
When you came to Thailand, you were already
yes. The foundation. We are based in Vienna. So the foundation is based in Vienna. It's not a Thai foundation. We only have our Asian office in Bangkok. And this is why also Prince Alfred, he regularly visits Asia. And now he was in Indonesia 2 weeks ago, where we have our next program of bridges. And now he's here. And he's overseeing our activities in Europe, while I live in Bangkok, overseeing the activities here. And we always work closely together, and he regularly visits the programs.
But your title is a founding chairman. So what does it mean?
That I founded the foundation. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I founded the foundation together with a lot of friends, of course. And we got some seed money of Swarovski, the crystal maker in Austria, and it was founded at the Imperial Palace in a big ceremony in Vienna. So of course there are many people and many board members, but it was based basically on my idea, because I'm a poet. And the idea is, or was, especially when the wall came down in Berlin at that time, there was a need for understanding. But I see that our different parts of society, they speak different languages, even if they all speak German. Let's say the people from the economy speak another language than the politicians, and they speak another language than the artists, and they speak another language than the spiritual leaders, and so on. So everyone speaks another language, but somehow when they speak to each other, they don't understand.
Right.
So because maybe our different words have different meanings. So I wanted to create a platform for an open dialogue because I think dialogue is the first step towards peace.
Sure.
So and as a poet, I mean, this was basically based on my idea, and I had a lot of friends at that time.
Yeah.
One of our founding members was Lord Yehudi Menuhin. He was a famous violinist and a good friend. And also, together with Richard Gere and Cindy Crawford, I was invited to visit the Dalai Lama.
Oh, you went to
So he was the first one to take over the patronage. So he has been a part of our program in Europe many times. And then 20 other Nobel Peace Prize laureates joined him to take over the patronage for our foundation, and many were or are still actively involved in the program.
Sure, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah ขอบคุณมาก
That's great.